talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you to tune into every Saturday afternoon. I'm Elsa McGee, your host, and we are here today doing the same thing we've been trying to do ever since we started the show back in 2004, trying to make sense out of a sensitive situation called the plight of veterans in the USA and the USA with the plight of veterans. I'm here today with two of my favorite veterans. You know, we're here, this Veterans Talking to Veterans and the Community. And we got a special guest in the audience with us that we're going to be hearing from, Casual Cal. Everybody know this brother from his work in the community. But anyway, I'm here with Bernard Hodor, the Marine.
Yes.
That gonna help us with this Camp Lejeune stuff. You know, it is critical that we understand and deal with Camp Lejeune. And my sidekick and Air Force, U.S. Air Force brother, that keep me straight. He's the detail man of our Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial. Tony, thank you for being here, brother, man. Couldn't do it without you. Now, today, we're talking about something that should be close to the heart of everybody that's listening. And if you need a minute to go get somebody, just go get your friend, call your friend and tell them to tune in. We are Veterans Talk here at Lyve TV, broadcast through Status Network. We are here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Amazon Fire Stick. So it ain't no excuse for you not getting in touch with us, not joining this conversation, because we are Veterans Talking to Veterans and the Community. Now today, we gonna do something that we know we can't get all of it done in one day. We're gonna talk about benefits. What are benefits? Those advantages that you earn from one tour of honorable military service. There are many of them. There are many of them. Now, I like the educational loan because it helps us broaden our capacity to perform in this growing democracy, which some people say is falling apart democracy. But we'll talk about that another day. But we're talking about the benefits that you earn from military service, education. You get business loans, home loans, like nobody else in the country can get. You know, I know this, that only 1% or less than 1% of the population in the USA ever have to serve in the military service, ever have to provide military service. So that's a very small minority of us that the country made a commitment to, and we made a commitment to the country. So we are in this covenant that we got to work together for a better democracy, you know, for a better community, for a community that's available to all people equally. You know, we got this system that we look at, these veteran benefits now, medical benefits, which is one of the highest costs of family today. Housing, you know, veterans can get a house with no money down. Business, you can get up to $250,000 to start a business. And medical care. You know, one of the things that in my generation, especially, I'm that last senior active person generation with me and Tony. We're the last active generation, oldest active generation of veterans. I met a career veteran yesterday, but you know, they're still pretty active, 90 years old. You know, that are still active in the community. But by and large, those guys have gone to not being active. You know, they're in the World War I. I think we might have 2 or 3 World War I veterans and World War II veterans, and actually no World War I veterans left in this country. But there's still this small minority of people that serve for the freedoms that we all enjoy every day. And we are glad about it. This is not a whining session. This is an education session. This is an inspiring session. This is an encouragement talk with the community. We want to make sure the community understand that these benefits were meant for the veteran, him or her family, and the community. Now we're gonna break these benefits down. But before we break the benefits down, we're gonna come back to that in another show. We want to talk about how do you get these benefits? what it takes to file a disability benefit, and that's going to really be the focus today. How to file a disability benefit. There are actually 5 elements of a disability benefit that, if you follow the yellow brick road with preparing these and understanding these elements when you're getting ready to file a claim, you wouldn't have so many claims that's denied, and you wouldn't have so many claims in the backlog at the VA. So that's what we want to be able to do for the community. We're going to talk about these 5 elements. Now, there are 2 claim systems, disability systems at the VA. One of them is called pension. That is for a veteran that don't have a service nucleus evidence of his disability. They can still get a disability. It's household based. We'll talk about that later. That's not a focus today. We just want to talk about the disability claim. What you got to do to know you got a claim. First of all, you got to have something that happened to you in the military or as a result of the military. In the military stuff. I was wounded in combat, so I have combat wounds. Now they rated at 0% because they don't pose any particular health condition, and that's what we want you to know. The way you get the disability benefits now is that you got an illness, whether it's long-term illness or a temporary illness that stop you from working. They can actually inhibit your capacity to go out and find a job, keep that job, take care of yourself and your family. When you reach that point and you got an ailment that might have started in the military service, you can actually be compensated for that up to $3,000 a month. Right now, $3,400 a month for a single person. And that's not taxable income. It's untaxable income for your family. This was part of that covenant that the United States made with you when you went in the military. So it's not a handout. It's not a welfare program. It's a contract. It's something. Cash Cal with us today.
Brother, can you help me out? How long after you have left the military and duty do these benefits kick in? How soon can you sign up for them?
You can actually sign up before you get out of the military, and you can sign up as late as 50 years later. You ain't never filed a claim. You can still file a claim for a service-connected disability. See, I don't want people to be misled. I want them to know before you get out of the military, you can actually file a claim for disability. But even after you get out, no matter how long it was, after you got out, you still have the right to these benefits. So thank you for that, because that's clarity, because I've met people in some church settings that I went to that thought that we could, you lose your benefits, right? They think that you time strain, lose your benefit. Now, the delivery system, we want to talk about that. When we talk about the elements of the claim, you got to do this before you can file to get these benefits. Now, where do you file to get these benefits? All of us got the same file in place. It's called the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. All over the country. There's a veteran in every city, every state in this country. And I'm going to say this, most of those veterans are getting good care. I want to make people understand that. Most of them are getting good care. But there's a large percentage of them that's not getting the care that they deserve. And you can see that with the homeless veterans. No, he's good. With the homeless veterans, right? See, we're finna go on an expo page in this kind of thanks to Tony and Marvin Arrington Jr. and this new veteran. We finna eliminate homelessness in my hometown. We're not finna see our sisters and brothers up under the bridge.
Amen.
See, so this is what veterans talk want to let we have the capacity to do that. Because homelessness is just a side effect of the way we do business. If we made sure, I'm willing to tell you, you can go down there right now, not just the homeless veterans, but homeless people, period. Most of them have some psychological disability.
From
the military.
Absolutely.
Or not from the military. Now, that's where that pension come in.
Okay.
It can develop not from the military itself, and you can still get a disability.
Well, but Rev, there's a wife at home watching us,
Yes.
and her husband didn't do any of this.
Well, now that's
Where does
why.
that leave her?
Well, that means that he's cheating on you. I love you. I can't. Don't do that. Don't make me say that. No. Now, I'm gonna say this to all veterans and their family members and the community: when a veteran is not getting his or her benefits that they earned for that term of military service, I can remember when I was going to the military, they gave me a party. My family came together and everybody was just happy they was promoting me off to the military. Well, what you get for that? This is like going into a store, Cal, and you go in there and you're gonna buy. You got a $20 bill, right? You got you gonna buy something that costs $2, and they give you $2 back. That's called short change. You know, you don't leave the store before you get your money. I don't want folks leaving the store before they get the money. So they need to know that these veterans that come out of their families and out of their communities have earned benefits that are economically good for them, for themselves, for their family, and for their community. You just got to get them.
So, just as an individual dreams and go after their dreams, it doesn't matter how long you've been at the military, you can go after those benefits like a dream.
You can go after those benefits.
So, if I wake up tomorrow and ain't done in 20 years and say, I got a business idea, I'm about to go for it,
you can go down and get that business loan. And now, let me tell you another little part, Cal. I'm glad you raised it. The disabled veterans business application. Now this is so powerful. It bothers me with my brothers that got disabilities. Right? You can get a disabled veteran business. They will give you the license to start the business. They will train you and help you set up your business. You can't run it though. You got to hire somebody right off the bat to run your business.
Wow.
But you can still get the business. Now, there's some things that you got to qualify other than, and this is politics now. We're going to talk about the politics side of the benefits later on. But the elements of these claim, you know, when you start talking about the housing benefit, that happened as a result of your military. That's a benefit that you get as a result of your military. Now, if you don't have a good honorable discharge, you will lose those benefits. And we're going to talk about that one day, how so many veterans that look like me have lost their benefits because of a bad discharge that they probably didn't deserve.
Okay.
We talk about
so
that.
So you can go and argue that point.
We can argue that point.
Okay.
So we have to understand. First, we want to get the community wrapped up in knowing what they got with the ones that's okay. You got a bunch of them okay ain't doing what they need to do.
And the other thing too I want to make clear, Rev, get me clear. Benefits are not just money.
No.
Benefits come through education, all right?
Education.
Medical. Housing, which you're talking about now. Food.
Well, yeah, because at a certain point, especially in the pension program, you can get food stamps in Section 8. I mean, see, because from these top benefits flow these sub benefits, right? And we'll get it all we get into each one of these benefits at some time. But before we get into the benefits, I want you to know what you got to do in order to claim those benefits. You know, in order to be awarded, they call it awarded the benefits. Okay, so now the first thing you need to know. In order to get a benefit, you got to have a good term of military service. And let me say this here: if you got more than one term of military service, one of them is bad and one of them is good, you can still get benefits. You know, I've had people come to me and talk about, well, I got a bad discharge. I was in the military for 18 years and I got a bad discharge, so I lost my benefits. How? How can you lose what you did good? That honorable period of military service still gives you the right to those benefits. And a lot of our veterans don't know this, and I'm telling you, I hope the wives are listening, I hope the mamas are listening, I hope the sisters are listening too. Because see, these benefits, I'm going to say it again, was meant for the veteran, his family, and the community. The community is standing behind this now because Marvin Arrington Jr. was listening to us. So we got the Veteran Empowerment Commission that just set up $1 million to help these programs.
Right on.
You know, so we need to make sure that that the community is understanding what we're saying, because once we get these benefits, it's like magic. You don't even have to look up the check is in the mail every month on the well,
on the first.
On the first, it's like magic.
Wow. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna tell you, it's the pension and the compensation. This brother's on pension 100%. His brother's on he's on compensation 100%. I'm sorry, and Kenny's on pension 100%, and they both hit the bank like magic.
Cha-ching.
Ching ching. So what we got to be able to do is get our community to understand the value of their veterans. First of all, and I think listen. My mama told me I had to go to the VA as soon as I got home. she looked at me and heard the nightmare, heard me fighting in my sleep. Next day she said, "Mom, you need to go down to the VA because this ain't what I got. I want what I got. What I gave them, I want that back." But you never get that back. Families never get back what the sacrifices their loved ones make in the military service. So we need to make sure, understand, that's what these benefits are for. These benefits are designed so that veteran won't be homeless. If you getting now, we'll get through something that started or resulted from your military service.
But you said something very important, Reverend. Very, very important. If I was to go outside and want people to know what you're talking about benefits now, I would tell every family member, your dad left some money on the table.
He left it on the table.
And they go, huh, what you talking about?
They've been short
stuff
changed.
that he don't even know.
Yeah, they've been short changed, and they walked out the store.
So the
my mom would tell me, you better go back in that store and get that money, boy.
Because sometimes I meet veterans who really don't care about the benefits that much, you know?
Yeah.
But like you said, it benefits family and neighborhood. So even if he don't want to do the benefits, I want the sister, the mama, the cousin, the nephew say, hey,
yeah,
we want to go to school too. We want to do things too. And them benefits are still on the table.
I'm gonna tell you something that I wouldn't intend to do in this show.
Oh.
But I'm gonna do it anyway as soon as Michael get up here, because you know God is always working with us, whether we realize it or not. But benefits, I started getting veteran benefits when I was incarcerated.
What?
I opened up an element with the NAACP, Earl Shinholster, in the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary, where we got veterans benefits, and it changed the course of life for a lot of veterans that was incarcerated. Me, one of them.
Gotcha.
So these benefits don't stop until you die, and they don't actually stop when you die if you're married, because your significant other, your spouse, you can't leave them to your children. Just take care of your children until they're 24, but they're sending your children to school. If you're 100% service connected disabled, your children go to school free. We're talking about veterans benefits today, y'all. I'm telling you, it's what you don't know that hurt you. If you don't know this stuff, that means that we are literally losing millions of dollars of income every day in our community. And somebody need to tell us this. Somebody need to look at these veterans that are walking around with ailments and say, well, you can't hold a job. Your family, you know your brother can't hold a job. You know your husband can't hold a job because of what he's suffering from. We got people right now that are dying from cancers that stem from that military service, and they can't even get compensated because they don't know it. So if we don't bring this information, this is the whole thing about Veterans Talk. Veterans Talk was meant to bring this in. Come on in, Councilman. Come. You come up here. You can sit next to. I would put you between me and Tony, but how you doing, bro?
I'm doing fine. How are y'all?
You know what we're talking about today is what you don't know that will hurt you. That's veterans benefits being lost from our community, and these benefits. Right. Yeah, okay. These benefits were meant for the veteran, his family, and his community. We know, I was talking about Maynard earlier with the 3% set aside. What our community need to know that they got veterans in the community, some of them probably up under the bridge downtown,
Right.
homeless, that should be getting benefits.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't stopped long enough to recognize that, to learn that. And now that we got brothers like this, and Michael, I'm gonna say it with brothers that listen to veterans, and that this brother has championed our cause like no other servant in our community. And I'm gonna say that about Marvin Adamson Jr. too. I mean, they might get tired of me and Bernard running them down all the time, but they sons of Atlanta too. That's the other part that we get with. But I want to kind of cut this off for a minute because then we're gonna get back to it because this is what we got to know. I just want to briefly give you these 5 elements to a claim. It's 5 elements to a claim. Something that happened to you in service or as a result of service. Then you got to get medical nexus evidence of that in service relation to what you're currently serving. And you got to have a diagnosis. All these are medical things that the VA don't do unless you show up. Right? When you're sick, and I can say when you're sick, you're going through mental problems and all kind of stuff, you're not showing up at the VA. You might be showing up in the liquor store, in the drug house because you're self-medicating because your family don't know how to get you some help. So that's why we're talking about that today. We got to make sure that our community, our families know about the benefits that their loved ones have earned from their military service and help them get them. You know, we're going to talk about reentry one day. And the whole thing about incarcerated veterans getting their benefits. They still get the benefits if they know how. Right. And I can say that Ruby Hurley, Earl Shinholster, and Reverend Kennebrew helped me do that in the Atlanta Federal Penitentiary. We're going to talk about that one day. But we're going to turn now to our brother that took his time to come here today and talk with us about whatever you want to talk about in terms of community, because he's out there in the community and doing some good work. So thank you, brother, for taking time off.
Oh, thank you, Reverend, for having me on the show. Well, I'll just start with the most recent news that we have on the project that we're working on to put the permanent memorial in Piedmont Park. At the last council meeting, we introduced the legislation to accept the architectural drawings from Moody Construction. And so it'll be coming up in committee on Tuesday at 1:30 in the Community Development Committee down at City Hall. And of course, it's just perfunctory, it's just, I don't expect anybody to turn this down, or vote against it. But so we'll be discussing it on Tuesday. We expect it to be unanimous and then forwarded on to the full council on May the 2nd. So we'll have the project drawings in place. And based on that, we're going to be moving to get our budget allocation into this year's upcoming budget. So it's a $1.5 million project, $500,000 for the construction. And so we're going to be moving to do that so that, we don't have to piecemeal the project over years. And so for those of you who care about veterans, and then those who are in particular care about honoring the Vietnam War era veterans, we're going to need your support to call your council person in the district, call the mayor's office, and tell them we want funding for that project. We want it in the upcoming budget. City's budget is about $680 million on average, and comparatively speaking, that 1.5 is not a lot. So we want to make sure that we have every lobbying effort. If you want to email, you want to call, you see them at church, see them at the gas station, stop them and tell them you want that project funded. So I wanted to bring that news to the group today.
Now, I can't say how much that means to me personally, because I just met Harold, and I hope Harold is listening. Harold went to Washington High School too. And one of the people that I keep holding up as my reason for this project is Lewis Herman. And Harold was the first guy that I met since I've been doing the project that knew Lewis. That we went to that same high school, we came out of the same community. So this is gonna open up for the first time, Councilman, us not just recognizing veterans, but recognizing the community and honoring their hometowns and the people that supported us when we was in the military. And our reason for being in the military. You know, it's all about our hometown. So this is my hometown. I'm a Grady baby. Like what about DJ? You say I'm Atlanta born, I'm Atlanta bred. When I die, I'll be Atlanta dead. This is my hometown. I'm so happy about this announcement. And I was already talking about it. But you can go on our website. sonsofAtlanta.org right now today, because we're gonna be starting the month of May, which is Memorial Day, off in a way that every citizen in Atlanta, at least not every citizen, 12,000 citizens in Atlanta will get an opportunity to buy an engraved brick with that name on it to be put in the Piedmont Park with this project. That's going to be the amazing part, because what that would do, that would not only allow us to honor these 240 young men from Fulton County, but it's somebody out there that want to honor their loved one that was in Korea,
right?
That was not actually in Vietnam, and some that was not in the military until last year, until when the last graduating class from these cities, we sending our young people in there. So this is an honor, and it is a historical accomplishment, because see, we always focus on our young people when we're going off. We was talking about that earlier, how I had a party, like I went to Lewis' party when he was going in the military. He come to mine when he was going in the military. When he was going to Vietnam, I went to his party, and he came to mine. And the harsh part was that I didn't know he was KIA until I got back home, because nobody wanted to tell me. Nobody wanted to write and tell me that one of my best friends had got killed in Vietnam, and I'm already over there in Vietnam, and I had got wounded. So this is about recognizing our hometown and recognizing that the military services and the benefits that we should be bringing back to our community as a result of that service. And this is a special day, and I'm so excited, because I think that every hometown should be like my hometown. They should honor their own.
That's right.
They should honor.
Brother Bond.
Yes.
Speaking of veterans, young, old, what is the common theme behind all of them when they talk to you? Is it benefits, or is it health? What is the big thing with them?
Well, normally what my experience has been, because when I was first elected, I was in District 3, which is basically from the Olympic Park all the way out to Douglas High School, in those neighborhoods, Vine City, English Avenue, Washington Park, Hunter Hills, Dixie Hills, right on the cusp of Collier Heights. And that was about 20 years ago. And at that time, that area of town had more senior citizen homeowners and neighborhood groups than any other neighborhoods in Atlanta. It was some of the older communities. And it ranged from a lot. Now, back then, there were also more veterans that lived in that concentrated area of Atlanta per capita than anywhere else. And so my first exposures were that they wanted support for veterans generally. And they had, I remember the Lincoln Cemetery used to have a really good veterans program every Veterans Day. And they would have literally hundreds of veterans out there gathered at the cemetery for their memorial. And it's kind of fallen off. But it ranges. And one of the things is that there used to be a veterans program there on MLK right across from Washington High School. And I forget the gentleman's name who ran it.
Dr. Hart.
That's right, Dr. Hart. So he was doing the things that Reverend is advocating for people to do today. Was, make sure that you're going after your benefits. Make sure that you are pursuing what you're owed, really. I mean, you're owed all of this by the government and by the community to make sure that you're benefiting. And so now, in more recent times, it's really been the concern around getting a focus on homeless veterans. The Reid administration had a really good outreach program for homeless veterans, trying to make them align with their benefits. But I can't speak to the status of it today. I know that Mayor Dickens has an interest in it because he supported it in the past. And so now we won't talk about the previous administration because he's in now. So, but I think that's been the focus, is to make sure that we're honoring them by providing them or giving them access to the services that they need, the resources that they need, and generally speaking, in the way of city services proper, we want to make sure that they're getting a return on the tax money that they're paying to the city. So if there's a city service, anything ranging from making sure your garbage is getting picked up to getting a tree cut down, because that's an issue, particularly for a lot of senior citizens in Atlanta. Now, we love our trees in Atlanta, but sometimes the trees can be in threatening conditions. They could be leaning in on our property or somebody else's property, look like it's going to fall. So we want to make sure that we are providing all the different avenues of benefits to people who've served our country.
You know what excites me about veterans? I'm sure you find it true too. Most people think they're just soldiers.
Yeah.
But these are brilliant minds in every part of the aspect of America's life. And I think concentrating on that, people need to understand that benefit you're giving, that handshake or pat on the back you're giving a veteran, it's much more than just them being a soldier. They're our leaders, man.
Right.
They're absolute leaders in whatever field they choose. So being individuals who are brilliant in their own fields, I think needs to be added to veterans instead of just thinking they're some soldiers that just hung up their uniforms.
Right, no, absolutely. And they represent every aspect of life. And just like Reverend McGee was saying, this is about your hometown. These are people who are seeded, grown, nurtured in your hometown. So the veterans are us. These are people that are attached to. I mean,
that's a button I'm going to make. Veterans are us.
Yeah, veterans are us. So we want to make sure that they're getting the recognition and resources for the sacrifice that they made. And the memorial, obviously, for those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. But everybody who puts themselves in harm's way for our country, there is always some level of sacrifice there. Even if, whether you're walking the point on the front line or you're doing something else, you
or you're
are
3 women in the back figuring out math.
That's right. Exactly.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I mean, one of the biggest things we did at City Hall, and this was 10 years ago, we honored the Tuskegee Airmen that were survivors, that were natives of Atlanta, that hadn't ever been recognized by the city, prior to that time. And of course, almost all of them I think all of them are gone now. And, it was a moving service, but of course it was long overdue. So, I mean, whether it's ceremonial, or, tangible, practical, we want to make sure that we're doing all we can.
Thank you, Councilman Herman. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you was waiting and calling in. I was talking about your show just yesterday.
Well, thank you, Reverend McGee. I was calling in, and I'm enjoying listening to what's going on your show and the activities. I'm a member of the task force. I'm a Vietnam veteran also, and like you mentioned earlier, I also have an organization where I do a show. You were on my show yesterday talking about the project, so I'm happy to see it moving forward.
Yes, thank you. Thank you as a part of the task force and what you're doing down there in Clayco. We're trying to make y'all get that kind of commission down there to follow up with what we're doing. But you've been doing great work down there with the veteran code and making sure veterans are getting their benefits. So I want to salute you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you for calling in. Now let's get back to these claims. Claims. Now, in order to get the benefits, you got to file a claim. You filed a claim with the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, the Benefits Administration. Now, I want to make sure everybody understands this. The U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs is actually three divisions. You have the health care, those are hospitals all across the nation, and the Benefits Administration, which they have in, certain spots. We have one here in Atlanta, that's for this region. And the cemetery are the burial benefits. And a lot of our families don't realize that every veteran gets something for burial. And in some cases, it's about 90% for some families. My family would be about 90% because I'm 100% service-connected disabled. But then there are some families that are not all the way service-connected disabled at the point of death. That's a claim. You cannot have any benefit whatsoever, but if you die of a service-connectable ailment, like I'm gonna tell you what, in our community, prostate cancer, diabetes, Parkinson, several different cancers, not just from Vietnam, but from Camp Lejeune. And then there are other military bases that are contaminated with asbestos and radiation and all kind of stuff that your loved one might be exposed to while they're in the military. We was talking about something that happened to you in the military or as a result of the military service. Then we talk about having a diagnosis for that condition. Once we get the diagnosis, what I do as a service officer, I research it. I want to see what that ailment comes from. I want to know the etymology of it so I can find a way to service connect it. And if I can't service connect it, if you're a veteran, then I'm going to look at your household income and I'm still going to get you a check. Right? Because you can get a disability that's not service connected. That's not service connected just because you're a veteran. Now that part of it, we'll talk about that later, but that part of it is based on household income. Now once you get the diagnosis, you got to have a medical history, right? You got to have some treatment history of that disability, what they call a medical nexus. Connecting that current ailment with your service condition. That qualifies you for a rating decision. You heard me talk about the 0%. Well, I got 0% for the scars when I was wounded in combat. I'm 100% for PTSD. But the scars could have came right after military service. It was 1984 before I was connected for PTSD. That was 16 years after the event. So we have to look at why this happened. I went to Washington High, so naturally I knew Dr. Harden. He was sort of like a point man for me. So with the help and knowledge I got from that brother, I promised that I would not stop passing it on. That would become my mission, because I didn't know my mom was going, you got to go to the VA. Go to the VA for what? I'm all right. I got a few scars. I made it back. So, but it's the loved ones, and you got to get those medical nexus. And then that rating decision, it's based on the severity or the complexity of your illness. That's where you get your rating decision. And the effective date. Right now, I'm fighting a case. I won the case in 2000, where this lady was denied her husband benefits in 1985. We won the case in 2000. See, they had to award her the benefits. They awarded her the benefits, but the effective date, we're still fighting them for. And I'm about to call the U.S. Court of Veteran Appeals racist, because all of the laws are in this lady's favor. But because that back pay would probably be $300,000 or $400,000, they feel like that's too much for her to get. If they had not made the mistake in the first place, they wouldn't have to do this. And that's what I want to say about benefits. If the VA denied you a benefit, and it was done wrongfully, either violation of the law of facts, that's what I showed the people in this lady's case, they violated both the laws and the facts in the case. So we opened it up under clear and unmistakable error rule. Now, and they should have granted her the effective date back to 1985, but they didn't. And the only reason I can see for it is that they just don't feel like she should have that kind of money.
Right.
But if they had paid her when she first filed the benefits, we wouldn't have this problem. And this is what I said when I be talking about being shortchanged for my benefits. This is what I'm talking about in my book. When I say we go through this military experience, and I'm proud of mine. You know, I'm proud of. I would be less than a friend if I wasn't proud of the military service where my best friend died at. Fighting for this democracy, and what we should be doing is making sure, and in his honor, that the community that he came from know about this, so that they make sure that no veteran, not one, is denied their benefits, because it's going to enrich our community. You know, I'm tired of going in the stores in my community and everybody talking a foreign language. I want to see somebody I know with them businesses. Cal, you know what I'm talking about. I can remember the barber shops with the guys playing checkers in the garages. I want some of that back, because you can go down there and get any information you want to know about the hood. If you want to know something about what's going on in the hood, go down there where them brothers playing checker at, and they give you all kind of information, and it will be positive information. It will be helpful information.
Not gossip.
Not gossip. Right. Not gossip. My God, that's the only thing I hate about the internet. We gossip too much. But listen, knowing the elements of the claim is the first step to filing a claim. Then you got to deal with this system that we got. The VA was designed as the deliverer of benefits for veterans. So that's why every veteran in the country know about the VA. Unfortunately, less than 20% of that 1% that served ever used the VA.
Wow.
Y'all didn't know that, did you? Wow. Y'all thought them $200 and some billion a year was going on for everybody. That's propaganda. But no, I want you to talk about that for a minute. So no, I'm gonna get at to you for a minute. So they think that I'm the old man just talking. This is younger bit.
That remind everybody how they can reach you. In case they didn't get all this information.
Listen, you can reach out to me through 770-895-3260. You need to go to sonsofatlanta.org and you can reach out through me there. But you need to buy your brick.
That's right.
You need to buy your brick. Bernard.
Okay, as you know, my name is Bernard Hodor, and there was a major contamination at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, where 900,000 veterans and their family was exposed to highly contaminated water. So we're now fighting the Camp Lejeune Justice PAC Act. We have just passed the House, so it's going over. We're trying to do it bipartisan, and it's going over to the Senate to be passed, to try to be voted on and be passed. So that's very hopeful. But I am a victim of that. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I had to have 39 rounds of radiation.
Now, with that, Bernard, tell them about filing a claim for the Camp Lejeune stuff.
Well, first of all, when you file a claim, you wanna initially do an intent to file. That's a form that you have to sign, letting the VA know that you're intending to file a claim for whatever ailment there is. Then there's a process. You have to have your C file. You have to send off for that. You have to investigate the stuff. You have to have nexus links. And so on and so on. But there is a process. And if you do a good process, intake, veterans should get their benefits that they're seeking.
And let me add that the processes are two now. You got what they call the legacy system.
Yes.
Which is the old system.
Yes.
And that involved cases that was before February 19, 2019, that's when that system came into effect.
Right.
Now, it's so confusing that it's throwing veterans off everywhere. Because if you after that, what they call the standardized form system, which required the intent to file.
Right.
That was not even in the business when I first started.
Right.
But that now it is, and it's a good tool because it actually start the effective date. Now, but if you file in a queue, you don't want that. Intent to file it can be kind of problematic because that's where they want to start your claim. So in your filing, you have to attack that date itself to make sure that they understand where you're going. And all the cases after 2019 is under that system. It has basically two parts to it. You know, before you go up to the Board of Veteran Appeals, you're at the Benefits Administration where you file your claim. And if they deny it, it used to be called a motion for reconsideration. Now they call it the high level of review.
Right.
They call it the high level of review. Now, and then they got the high level of review, and then they got the substantial review. The high level of review is like you get the boss to look at it.
Right.
That's basically what it's saying.
Right, basically.
The supplementary is saying I got some more evidence that you didn't consider in your first opinion. So after they do that, if they don't grant the benefits, they will issue what they call a statement of the case. That statement of the case is the VA gonna tell you why they didn't do what you asked them to do. That is the most important document you can get if you want to appeal that decision. So you know the date is important when you got it, and the issues, because VA gonna respond to everything you file for, whether that response is targeted right or not. Sometimes they'll take the narrative and they'll take you over here with another argument. But it's so critical to understand that claim process, because right now it's confusing and they just dump something else into the file, which I like the automation. VA went automation the first of 2020.
And why do you like automation? I would think you like talking to a person, but...
Now, automation means simply that the VA is using technology now to gather the information and make a decision. Right now, they can make a decision within 30 days. That's so welcoming to me.
Wow.
You know, it's so welcoming to me. But now, what does that mean? You're losing a lot of due process rights that you had in the legacy system. They're taken away. Under the legacy system, you had up to a year to file an appeal. Under the new system, you only have 120 days. So we losing some benefits and the changes up, and we're also losing some rights. And when we start losing rights, you start getting bad decisions, going into an appeal process where not only do the judges don't know it, the VA don't know it. And why did I say that? Kenny is a witness. We started his appeal in 2018, right? 2017. He haven't got to the process yet because they keep sending him back the form. If you ain't got it on the right form, then they send it back to you. They won't process it now. It used to be a time that they would take it and do it themselves, right? They would say you couldn't place forms over substance when you were dealing with veteran benefits, but they didn't change all that. Now they got form over substance. You don't get the form right, you got frustration, and anything you know, you have been timed out the system. So it's always important that you get a service officer. And what we're doing with the Sons of Atlanta, we're going to be able to, after we get the monument and the power, we're actually going into the community centers, setting up information desks and help centers with this kind of information, so that veterans don't have to go outside of their community to actually get this information and the help that they need. And it's going to also be where families can invoke the process, because the VA has a thing where if your family can show that you are incompetent, they can file a claim for you. You understand? They can file a claim. So we got to bring this information to the community. But what we doing more than that. We bringing the help to the community too, with it, because like Bernard is a national service officer. I know a lot of them. They just don't want to come out to work where they know me. They see me coming. They say, "Oh, here comes the problem maker." But what they always come up because they know how beneficiary it is for families to get these benefits.
Sure.
And what we got to make sure, and I'm hoping we're going to make sure, is that in my hometown, there would never be a veteran that come out of the military that don't know what his benefits are, right, and not get them. Because if every veteran used their benefits, that is no way he could be homeless. The VA, once you get a home loan, it's hard to foreclose on it. It's like, it's probably one of the best low interest loans you can get. You can get. You're gonna get a business that the VA not only gonna help you set up, they're gonna give you business. Let me give you an example of my hero, Jose Williams. I know everybody don't know Jose like he was a chemist. He went to school on the GI Bill to become a chemist. Started William Chemicals Company. One of the biggest customers of William Chemical Company is the government. See, what they do, once you set up business, they're going to do business with you. Veteran businesses get priority with government contracts.
Wow.
We got to stop letting these people take our benefits like this. We got to make sure, and the guy told me the other day, said, man, you know what, since you want to teach somebody, you should start teaching the ROTC about the benefits. And I said, man, that makes a whole lot of sense. He said, I said, we just talking, how we get to talking, the old men get to talking. He said, man, you trying to teach all these other guys, why don't you start teaching in the ROTC units? I said, man, I ain't never thought about that. But we need to, because these kids got a heart for service.
Mm-hmm. And if they got the whole picture.
We need to give them the picture.
That's right.
We need to give them the picture. And I'm so thankful today that we got my city councilman who listens to me. I know you.
Our city councilman.
Our city councilman. I'm saying it's mine because I feel grateful. I feel blessed. And when we got brothers like this in our community, and every time you see him, he's in the community doing stuff. I know one time I was at Washington Park. I don't know what I was doing over there. Something over there. I looked over there. I saw my councilman. In the parks where I live, parks I grew up in. Mm-hmm. Man, you know what? That makes somebody, when they say thank you for your service, I know they thank me for my service when I can walk out in the park and see my elected
Brother
official.
Bond is everywhere.
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 And in the community.
He don't have to stir up a lot of stuff. He can come and just
quietly.
handle things while it's going.
Just quietly and making things happen, man. And we're thankful for that, brother.
Really, thank you.
We really are. So this has been a great show. Next week we're gonna deal with something that I know that everybody, I want all you people to go tell whoever you need to tell. We're gonna talk about the caregivers program next week because I'm kind of upset with that. They got some discrimination in there with that caregivers program. Caregivers program is designed for families to get paid for helping their veterans, but they got some gaps in it. We're gonna talk about that next week. I want everybody to know who are eligible for these benefits that we are out to get the information to you to help you get them and maximize the uses of them.
Give them that hot number again.
It's 770-895-3260. 770-895-3260. But you can contact them through the website, VBA Chapter 1118 at hotmail.com. Now I need to. I don't want to check all this heat. So, you need to give somebody focus on your number too, bro. They ain't gonna be giving y'all this work, man.
Okay, if y'all want to reach out to me, my name is Bernard Hodore. You can also reach out to me at Bernard Hodore, HODORE @gmail.com. Also, you can give me a call at area code 404-453-2255. That number again is area code 404-453-2255.
And let me say this: y'all might think I'm trying to throw Bernard up on the bus, but me and Bernard work together. We do cases together, So, when I tell people to get him, I know one thing about it: he gonna tell them the truth, and he gonna get some results.
And his old lady got his back.
That's
Boy,
right.
That's my daughter. That's my
I'm
daughter.
telling you, she know, boy, she be on it.
She called him at there. Sometimes he's sitting in my office. She called him, "Where you at?" I said, "Time for you to go, bro." I said, "Time." I said, "It's time for you to go. You need to go home. I ain't finna take that heat." But this has been one good show. Next week we're gonna talk about this caregiver program, because I'm concerned that we are not getting all of the benefits that we have earned for our military service. And again, it was meant for the veteran, his family, and the community. We want to make sure that these benefits are enriching the veteran, his family, and our community. I'm crazy about my hometown, but I'm telling you now, I want to see some veteran businesses coming up on the west side.
Yeah.
I'm just telling y'all, I know how to get the claim. We know how to make the claim. And y'all know if I can't do it, but now I can. And I'm going to holler at Robert Dukes. I hope you're watching, brother. You were supposed to be on the hot seat today, too. So you owe us one. Want to be thankful for the day at Status Live TV. It's broadcast through Status Network. We'll be back here next week doing the same thing we're doing today. Trying to make sense out of a sensitive situation about veterans, the plight of veterans in the USA, and USA with the plight of veterans. Thank you, and have a good evening.